Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Corcoran Entertainment Show. I'm your host, Frankie Corcoran. Happy Thursday, everybody. What's going on? Before we start the show today, I just want to give a quick plug for an event that's going on this weekend. Character Matters Miramichi is putting on a show, The Case of the Inscrutable Skull. This is going to be at the St. James and St. John United Church Center, 556 King George Highway, the same place we did our show last week. As two amateur sleuths re-examine the reports of bones, ghostly hauntings, and local legends, events begin to fracture and rational explanations collide with the unexplained. A haunting investigation into history, silence, and belief results. So June 19th, 20th and 21st at the St. James and St. John United Church Center. Tickets are $20. They can be purchased at the door or on Eventbrite. Be sure to go support local theater. It's always great to see so much stuff going on. And so be sure to follow Character Matters Miramichi on Facebook, Instagram, and keep up to date with this project and the upcoming shows that they have going on later this year. Of course, they're always doing stuff in the summer as well. So moving on to our guest today, I had a great time with this guest. He is an actor who is, you guys who have seen some of Jeff Macalino's films, who is a regular on this show, Thanksgiving Again and The Last Ryde. I was a fan of his performances, and it was great to get to chat with him today, Shaun Grant. We talk about a lot of different things, and he was just an absolute delight to have on. And hopefully you guys enjoyed the interview. I'll put the links in the description to his link tree. You guys can keep up to date with all the stuff that he's doing. Follow him on Instagram, and even check out Thanksgiving Again and The Last Ryde and some of the other stuff he's done. So anyways, guys, without further ado, just sit back, relax, and enjoy the podcast today. All right. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Corcoran Entertainment Show. I'm your host, Frankie Corcoran, and today I'm joined by an actor who you guys may have seen in he's been in a lot of movies, but two in particular, because we are close friends with Jeff Macalino. The Last Ryde, Thanksgiving Again, among many others. Be sure to go check out his IMDb. He's always working on something, but today he's podcasting with me. So very excited to have Shaun Grant. Shaun, how's it going, man?
It's going fantastic, Frankie. Thank you so much for having me. Super excited to be here.
Well, thanks for coming on. And I was telling you before that, I saw you in, of course, The Last Ryde and Thanksgiving Again. Love them both. Thanksgiving Again, I probably the best. But I mean, that's always, it's just, I love that whole time loop concept, and, everyone's dynamic was so good. When it comes to, are you the type of person that when someone asks you, what was your favorite project, do you ever have an answer for that? Or is it just kind of, they're all my favorite?
As a recovering people pleaser, to be honest, I used to say all of them are my favorite, but to be as authentic, to answer that as authentic and honest as possible, I would have to say Thanksgiving Again was one of my favorites because it's at the top, because that character was so different as far as emotionally than I am. And other than a couple villains I've played here and there, it's just Chase was so different than what I would when I read the script, I actually had to I was taken aback a bit, because I questioned, it's like, oh, does he really do that? And so I had to remember, it's like, okay, no, you're Chase, you're not Shaun. So Chase will do this and do it all day and not have any reservations about it. He'll just, it's just natural for him. And so it was interesting because it was a challenge at first, but there were aspects of me that were really relatable to the character. And then once I kind of got the hang of it, I was like, oh yeah, this is pretty fun. So I would have to say that is probably, it's at the top for sure. Thanksgiving again because the character is just so different than I am as a person, and it was nice diving into that.
But yeah, like I love those types of movies that I mean, the fact that it's obviously the time loop isn't real, that's not realistic, but in the sense that you see in some of the scenes where it's Thanksgiving, it's one of those things every time for any family gathering, if someone's cooking in the kitchen, I'm just like, stay out of there because that's a hell zone. Everyone's yelling at each other and everything. And
Yeah,
Thanksgiving again, like perfectly captured that. It was almost like I was like, okay, this is literally Thanksgiving at my grandmother's house.
yeah,
Everyone's screaming at each other, get out of my way. We gotta get
yeah.
this ready, we gotta get that ready. I'm just like, okay, I'm just gonna go play my DS and just mind my own business because everyone's grouchy. And so Thanksgiving, and you really got that sense of like everyone's been in those types of situations. Do you prefer the types of roles that's more grounded in reality, or do you like kind of crossing the realistic barriers, so to speak, sometimes and being like, I want to be a superhero or something like that, or something that's not grounded in reality?
I've grown a lot since I've become an actor, and so I really, I guess, relate more to those shows that are kind of grounded in reality because you get the opportunity to bring so much of your life experience, and it's not even as much imagination as it is just your own past experience. And what's so great about Thanksgiving again is it's just so many different personalities coming together. And I feel like we've all, on some level, have had that experience where, it's multiple dynamics coming into one place. And then it always, winds up blowing up into something where, there's just so much going on. So I really enjoy those aspects, those types of films now, where it's just like I can just really draw from my life experience and not so much about, oh, well, I have to imagine, what this would be like. It's just, I know it's fun. It's fun for me at this stage in my life.
Makes your life easier too, just pretending that you're, or not even pretending, like okay, this is just how I am in real life. Like Jeff's character in Thanksgiving again, I said to
Yeah.
Jeff, I said, that's literally you, man. I said, you don't even have to act.
Yeah. I know. It was like hilarious. Like I mean, he's such a great dude. But the thing I love about him the most is he's so authentically himself. And like, I think that came through in Last Ride, that came through in Thanksgiving again. And it's just so powerful. And it's refreshing to be around because, he won't beat around the bush or he won't, make you with Jeff, you get exactly what he gives. And that's what's great about it.
It's you always wonder with certain actors or filmmakers, are they as crazy in real life as they are on camera? Like there's certain actors who I wonder, like Jim Carrey, for example. I'm like,
Mhm.
is he as crazy in real life as he is on camera? Have you ever met anyone in real life that you were like maybe a famous person that you've always seen and you imagine them a certain way, and then when you meet them in real life, you're like, this is not at all what I was expecting. This guy is just a dick or something.
Well, it's funny you bring up Jim Carrey because I did a film a while back called I Love You, Philip Morris. And it's a really small role. I don't even think it made the final cut. But I had a chance to meet Jim Carrey, and he was as chill and down to earth. Like, you see the Ace Ventura films and The Mask, and you're like, this guy's absolutely nuts. Like, I wonder if he's like that in real life. And you start to see there's like certain masks, especially as actors, we wear certain masks in certain situations, right? And so when I met Jim, he was just easygoing, kind, down to earth, shook my hand, smiled, thank you for being a part of this production. And that was that. And in another instance, I did a film called Blood Out where I was on set with 50 Cent, Curtis 50 Cent Jackson. And so I come into the makeup trailer at the same time that 50 Cent is getting his makeup done. And, I'm just not expecting anything. I'm trying to be professional, but I'm excited because, you've heard the music and you've seen the hoopla and stuff like that. And I walk up to my chair where I'm about to get my makeup done, and he gets up and he reaches his hand out He's like, "Hi, how you doing? Nice to meet you. I'm Curtis." And it was just, it's like, is this the G that like, is this that same guy? And he was so, it was like an alter ego almost, but he was so reserved, and he was like that the entire time until the director yelled action, and then he sort of stepped back into that 50 Cent persona for the character that he was playing, which was a crooked cop, you know. But I found that so it was just it just funny in a lot of ways because it's the mark of a good actor. You see somebody on TV and they convince you so well that they're that individual, that they're that person, and then you meet them and then it's just totally different. So I thought that was two interesting experiences that I had as far as meeting people and then meeting the real people behind what we see on TV or in the movies.
Because they almost tell you not to meet your heroes. That's one thing people will
Yes.
say is that they say don't
Yeah.
meet your hero because if it's a bad experience, it's going to tarnish your view on them going forward. You're going to
Mm-hmm.
see every movie that they do from now on, maybe you won't boycott it, but you will not watch it. Whereas
Yeah.
before you met them, you would have absolutely watched it on opening night. And so, do you kind of agree with that? Of like, should you meet your heroes or should you not meet your heroes? Or it's like, how do you kind of go into it and managing your expectations?
Honestly, I think the entertainment industry can be amazing, but it also can be stressful, especially for people, who have, I guess, reached the heights of Hollywood. And what you find when you're working with, A-listers or people that are in the public eye a lot more than everybody else is, sometimes it's just day to day, right? You catch somebody in a mood that they're not really wanting to be nice to the public, and it can be a really crappy situation. And I've had that a few times, and then I've met people who just no matter what, like Josh Brolin, for instance, who just it didn't matter how much stress was going on around him or what was what was happening at all. Josh Brolin was the same kind, amicable, compassionate guy that he was. Just it was consistent, and that was pretty amazing. So I think like you kind of just have to go for it because you never really know who these people are going to be. Like, and that's I don't know if that answers the question, but it's like you don't have any idea. It just depends on what mood they're in, where they are in their lives, how much work they've done on themselves, how much do they buy into the fact that, okay, you know what, I'm a public figure. You guys, as the fans, made me, made my career basically. Do I respect that fact by always being kind to the people that have made me famous? And so I think that's the question to really answer um, if you're in that position. But I've had good experiences for the most part.
I thought you were going to say whenever you said Josh Brolin, he was as nice as he was. I thought you were going to say in Avengers when he
Oh,
killed
yeah.
when he killed half of
Thanos. Yeah.
humanity. I said, "Huh, that's interesting." I said, "Okay, so I guess Thanos was right." That's where I thought you were going with
Yeah.
that.
No, he's a super super guy, and I, like I said, this is another just very small role that I had on a movie called Jonah Hex, and he was this is Josh Brolin from the Goonies. His mom is Barbara Streisand, and it's just this really huge public figure, but he treated everybody the same, and I've always loved that. I've always respected that, more than anything else, because at the end of the day, we're all just people, right? We're all running the same race, and so I things like that I never forget.
No, and it's so nice whenever you read about those stories about actors who are so nice, they're so giving, and they're so like one of the reasons Bryan Cranston is probably my favorite actor of all time is I was listening to different interviews of like people's perspectives of working with him on Malcolm in the Middle and Breaking Bad, and they said like and you could probably attest to this too. You're working on a movie, days are long, you're just like, oh my god, are we done? Everything,
Yeah.
But everything about Bryan Cranston is that he never once complained. He was like just was so lucky to be there. He was just grateful to be there that he never complained whatsoever. And to me, I'm like, that's the type of person that I want to be. You know what I mean? It's
Absolutely.
like because at the end of the day, we are lucky, you know, whether it's doing theater or in film to have these opportunities and to have someone say, "Oh God, I don't want to be here." It's like, okay, why are you here? Just there's the door.
Yeah.
Just walk out. Have you ever had those types of experiences? Does that drive you crazy when you hear people that are almost ungrateful for the opportunities that are given to them?
It used to because I was always like, why wouldn't you be the happiest person alive? You get to do this, and then you get to have people adore you for it, and you're making all this money, and a lot of these people would be miserable, and it would come off in their interactions with people. I don't want to like throw any names out there, for bad.
Jeff McAlino.
He's terrible. He's just absolutely terrible.
Love you, Jeff.
Yeah. No, Jeff is terrific.
Or
Jeff.
Samantha. I had Samantha on here before. She's
Oh
great.
yeah, Sam. Well, Sam's a bit standoffish. I'm like, no, I'm just kidding.
Oh, she's such a gem.
Yeah, no, she's wonderful too. Once you get to know her, you start to see how much of an amazing person she is. Both of them are truly, but I've been in a situation with people who just are like recognizable names, and they're just turds of human beings. Like I know that's a harsh thing to say, but you see that once again based on how they interact with people and how if I watch you and you're acting like you're better than everybody else, like it just it's not for me. So it's sad that we have to go through that, but the reality is that some people I think are self-absorbed and just so in their own circle they don't really care about what's happening outside of them. So it's unfortunate, but it's part of the business.
They just get tunnel vision, is what it
Yeah.
is. It's like they could be the nicest person in the world, but it's just they're so stressed about what's going on and
Hmm.
nailing this film. And to be fair, like yeah, there is lots of stress and things like that that go on well, hell, every set.
Yeah.
Like someone said, I want
Chaos in a
to.
lot of ways.
Where did I see it? It was somewhere. I think it was something like I want to be. Someone said I just want to be. I want to work in an industry where there's nobody yelling and this and that. It's like, all right, you're never going to work a day in your life then. Like, I'm sorry, you're just not. People are going to yell, whether it's towards you or just in general, but there's people are going to yell.
Yeah, and tempers flare. People are tired. Sometimes they're hungry. Everything you can, you know, agitated state you can feel. You can feel in life. You can watch people feel on a film set. And when people have worked longer than 6 to 8 hours, man, it can get ugly because it just everybody's short and the human body needs rest and it needs breaks. And a lot of times, especially from a crew side of things, they don't necessarily get that. And let's just say, the scenes aren't going as quickly as possible. So the producers are stressed because it's costing money. And there's so many things that can go wrong. Uh, it's an interesting thing to watch unfold. Doesn't happen all the time, but when it does, it's like, okay, who can actually stay zen in these situations and who can be a leader to just to kind of keep everybody, focused on that one goal. Because that I've been on sets where it's just like, at the top they just say, okay, you know what, we just got to do this. Everybody's to buckle down. We're just going to finish strong, and it pulls everybody back in, pulls them together. So you see a little bit of everything.
Yeah, and that's it. Yeah, like just good leadership is a big thing too. Having a good director, having a good manager, whatever the case may be, to like rally the troops together because we all have a goal, and it's to bring this project to life, and you can't do that if people are showing up either unprepared or they show
Yep.
up with no sleep or anything like that. Like there's a lot of different factors at play when it comes to that, and it's just one of those things that everybody has to band together because, like you said, costs money. Like thousands of dollars per minute to pause or things like that. And so people aren't being short. It's just we got to get this shit done. That's
Yeah.
all it comes down to. And so going a little bit back to when you started.
Mhm.
First off, be sure to go check out his IMDb here. Your IMDb, you're wearing what's that one from? Do you remember what this one is from? Your IMDb profile picture. Do you know which one I'm talking about?
Yeah, Journey, right? I'm dressed like a warrior.
That's what it is. I was looking at that.
Yeah.
I was like, was he in Dune or 300? What is that?
Oh man, this is one of my favorite films I've ever. It's a short film, and it's called Journey, and it was pretty much based in a universe that was much like Lord of the Rings. And this happened the same year COVID. This is in 2020, and I think we COVID came about 2000. Sorry, March 2020. This was shot in September of 2020, and so I flew out from Florida to Nevada, and we were in the Nevada mountains, and just really kind of getting that whole scenery with the mountains and the woods and stuff, and then I flew home, and then came back the next week to the Mojave Desert in LA, and then this place called Lake Jackson where they filmed part of The Mandalorian and stuff like that. But I really love that role because it not only puts you in a world that's so different from life itself, but I was actually a mentor and a teacher, which I feel like naturally I am in real life. I got a chance to really implement that into this film, and it was tough because we were running up mountains, we were running through pastures. There's dirt and sand everywhere, and you're wielding a sword for hours and hours at a time. But it was just, and every time I see those pictures, I literally get transferred back to that experience. And one of my favorite films to this day, just because of the world the directors and producers were able to create in such a short period of time. They wanted to enter a contest, the microphone road contest, which is like one of the biggest ones in the country. And they got together in like literally, I think 3 weeks and got all of that stuff together. It's like, okay, do you want to fly out here? We can fly you out here. I was like, yeah, sign me up. And what came together from it was just pure magic, just so good.
That's good. Like you want to walk away from a project being like that felt good. Was there
Yeah.
ever a project you wouldn't have to say the name of it or anything in case the director's listening? Was there ever have you ever had projects that you were like oh my God, thank God that's over, you know?
Well, I did. I can honestly say I haven't, but your timing is impeccable because I just literally got fired from a film
Oh,
before it started. And it was one of those cases where I'm the type of guy where I like to be upfront about what's happening. And shout out to all the directors and producers that come up with a contract, deal memo, lets me know, gives me an idea of everything that I'm doing. And if the thing I love the most, if you have any questions, I know it sounds simple, but if you have any questions, just ask. And so it's an open door to really talk about what's going to transpire. This film that I just had been let go from, it was none of that. And I found myself having to ask for a contract over and over and over. I was, under the impression that it was paid, but then all of a sudden, all these rehearsals, these free rehearsals, came up, and it was like, oh no, 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 you're not being paid for that. But then it's like 3 hours of your time. I don't mind it, but it's like just be upfront and honest about it, as opposed to, oh, it's a surprise. Oh, it's a surprise. Oh, it's another surprise. So I just had a talk with the director, and I said, like, I'll be honest with you, like, as a recovering people pleaser, I didn't tell him that, but as a recovering people pleaser, you kind of just fall in line and go with the flow. But I was like, I can't do that. Like, at this stage in my life, at this stage in my career, like, I want to be with somebody who I can trust. And I think that's the biggest thing I learned in Hollywood, is that you begin to see a lot of people on the same sets over and over and over and over, because there's trust and there's understanding that not only is there trust, I can communicate and I know what to expect. and that helps us to work even better together. And so, but this director, like, I was a stunt man for 5 years in Hollywood, and he just never would take any of my input. And he would he would go and ask somebody else, and they would say the exact same thing. And I was just like, wait, what? Like, I just told you that. Like, why aren't you listening? So then it made me think, okay, is there like some kind of personal thing here that I'm missing? And it just intuitively, it felt like it was going down a direction that I just couldn't be a part of anymore. And so when I spoke my piece, he waited a couple of days and he came back and said, yeah, we're going to go in a different direction. So we're going to let you go. So didn't happen, but I am glad it didn't happen because, that's one that I would rather forget.
That would have been the project that you would have been like, thank God that's over.
Absolutely, man. It's, for the most part, every production has been a lot of fun, even the challenging things in the midst of it. It's always been a lot of fun because everybody's there because they love what they're doing. And like I said, as long as you have somebody at the top who is transparent, authentic, and upfront with you about what's happening, and there's no surprises, there's no sneakiness or anything like that, it's a hell of a time.
Do you ever one thing that people will always think about when it comes to actors sometimes, well, there's two situations. It's one, you're a struggling actor, blah blah blah, there's no money in that, or there's good money in it. But then like you said, there are situations where they're not upfront with you from the get-go and you're like, I don't think I want to be a part of this. Um, and then some people I'm sure would be in your ear going like, oh, but it's a lot of money. Is the money, the amount of money that someone would pay you, would that be worth going through hell for a project, or would it like how would you take that where you're like, okay, this is one hell of a, this could pay off all of my credit card debt, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Help pay off my mortgage. Oh, but it's a toxic production. I don't want to be a part of it. Like when do you draw the line on choosing projects like that?
That's a terrific question. And, I would say it depends on the person, but I will say in my personal experience of doing this for 18 years, every time I've made money, the guiding light, it's it's been a tough road. Like it even because I'm big on intuition and it never lies to you. Like when you start to feel kind of yucky, sort of say, about certain things, or you feel uneasy about them, like that's your intuitive side telling you, yeah, this might not be in complete alignment for you. But, from experience alone, like you say, well, it would be nice to pay off the student loans. It would be nice to pay off the credit cards. It would be nice to go on a vacation. Oh, let me just go ahead and do it. And you do it, and you're like, oh my gosh, that was definitely not worth my peace and my sanity going through that for any amount of money. So I've gotten better at being able to just kind of tap in to see, okay, not just from a money standpoint, but does this make me a better person after I've left this production? Does it add value to my life? And that's the biggest thing because all I ever want to do is add value to whoever I come into contact with on a daily basis, film set or not. It's always about how can I add value and create a positive impact. And if a film can do that for me, it's good.
Because it can't always just to be, I mean, yes, it's you're doing it for money because obviously it's what you love and everything, and this is what you're this is why you're pursuing it, but also you do love it. You don't want to lose the passion by, because then you think about acting, and then all you think about is, oh, the last time I acted, it was absolutely terrible. I never want to do that again. It's like that's where the line kind of gets. You always wonder, like, okay, is this something I want to pursue professionally? Was that ever a thought in your mind of like, this is getting too much to pursue professionally? Maybe I could just do it for fun. Like, did that thought ever cross your mind, or?
Initially in the beginning, it was challenging because it was unlike anything I had ever done in my life. And I started when I was 26, 44 now. And, you just your patience is not as expansive and online for me at least as it is now. And so there were times where I was like, I remember in 2009, I went on maybe like 100 auditions and I booked one job, and it was the most frustrating thing, but it was so good because what it did is it helped me to go back and read and to go to class and just film myself doing certain things on the phone. Like, it helped me to really dive into myself to be better. And when that year was over, what it taught me was you ultimately have to do it for you, right? Who are you becoming as you continue to do this work? Are you growing? Are you liking yourself more? Are you feeling good about the choices that you're, making in this career, in this industry on a daily basis? And when I look back, even though I only had one job that year, I was like, you know what? I've changed positively. And I mean, the transformation was just mind blowing. And the beauty of it is like, I really liked myself. I really liked who I was pursuing this dream. And then the next year it just like took off. Like, it was a totally different, but I think that it happens because life has a way of testing us to see, are we really committed? And I think that's in our relationships, that's in like our health, that's in our careers. It really wants to see, are you committed? So it throws a block at you. It throws some obstacles to see, because if you're emotionally stringent and you're devoted to what it is that you're doing, you're going to overcome that. Passion is just going to overcome any obstacles, any impediments that come in your way. And that's what happened for me. I was just like, this is what I really want to do. Just let me take the punches, and eventually I'll land some and just get momentum, and things will start to look on the upside. And that's what happened.
This episode of the Corcoran Entertainment Show is brought to you by Holy Hydrogen. Okay, guys, let's be real. We all try our best to stay hydrated, right? But not all water is created equal. That's where Holy Hydrogen comes in. They've got this awesome device called the Lourdes HydroFix Premium Edition, and it takes clean water to the next level by infusing it with molecular energy. That means you're not just drinking water. You're giving your body extra support with every sip. Better energy, less inflammation, and a real boost to your immune system. So try the Lourdes HydroFix Premium Edition today by going to shop.holyhydrogen.com/Corcoran and use the promo code Corcoran for $100 off your purchase. Again, that's shop.holyhydrogen.com/Corcoran and use the promo code Corcoran at checkout. Stay hydrated and stay healthy. The Corcoran Entertainment Show is brought to you by Podmatch. When I first started this podcast, one of the biggest challenges I was faced was simply finding the right guest. I'd spend hours scrolling through social media, sending cold emails, trying to track down people who actually shared similar interests and aligned with the vision of my show. It was exhausting, time-consuming, and honestly kind of felt like a guessing game. That is why I wish I had discovered Podmatch sooner. It is the ultimate platform built to connect podcast hosts with prospective guests effortlessly. Instead of wasting your days hunting for the right fit, Podmatch uses an intelligent, automated matching system and pairs you directly with like-minded creators and experts tailored specifically to your niche. Whether you're a podcaster looking to elevate your show to new heights, or you're a guest hoping to share your expertise with a broader audience, Podmatch completely simplifies the entire process. If you're ready to save time and grow your brand, head over to www.joinpodmatch.com/Corcoran Entertainment and sign up today for only $6 a month. That's right, you heard me right. $6 a month to join the Podmatch family and never struggle to find the perfect guest ever again. Thank you for tuning in to the show, and happy podcasting. Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, as I said, it's such a fine line of not wanting to lose the passion. But you didn't start off as an actor, correct? You started off, did I read correct that you were a football player?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah.
Until an ACL stopped
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Okay. So, growing up in New Orleans, Louisiana, I basically wanted to be Jerry Rice. And for anybody who doesn't know who Jerry Rice is, Jerry Rice was the greatest wide receiver of all time in the NFL history, in my opinion. And I saw him as a child, and I saw how gracefully he moved on the football field and how everybody cheered for him. And I love that. And so I was about 5 or 6 at the time, and I just began to dedicate my life to just getting to the NFL, getting to the NFL. And so everything I did was geared towards embodying that identity. And I excelled in like Pop Warner League. I excelled in flag football in elementary and then through high school. And then I got to college and things got a little bit challenging because my body started to break down and I had these injuries just reoccurring. Before I actually got to college, backtrack a bit, my last, my senior year of high school, my very last game is when I had that injury when I tore my ACL, my MCL, my LCL, my PCL.
Oh,
and
geez.
I had,
Every L possible you broke.
and I had bone spurs. And, I'll never forget, my doctor was like looking back on it, I love this man because he was like a dad. He really was like a dad. And he sat me down and he told my mom after he had the MRI, he's like, your MRI looks like a bunch of jellyfish just got into a fight. That's what your knee looks like. I was like, dang, okay. And so he was like, Shaun, he's like, I love you. He said, if you were my son, football would be done. And so it was a bit of silence. And I looked at my mom and I looked back at him. I was like, well, Doc, thank God I'm not your son because I'm going to play football again. And so I went through a grueling rehab for a year and a half. I walked on at Louisiana Tech University, played college ball there, and then that's when the injuries they just kind of begin to pile on. And I realized, as we were talking about earlier about finding that passion, you'll get tested to see if you still have that passion there. Once I begin to have just repetitive injuries, I'm like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. This is not fun. I was
I'm
like,
torturing myself here.
yeah, like I'm 20 years old and I feel like a 65-year-old man. Like I've never in my life, other than that time, I had like 6 or 7 different injuries on my body. And like I said, I was 20 years old, 21 years old, and I was just like, I just can't. I don't know if I have the passion for this anymore. So then I realized I tried to get out of it every chance that I got. And then I sort of felt like, yeah, the NFL dream might not be what it was 16, 17 years ago. And the last injury that did it for me was a hamstring pull. I literally, my hamstring exploded. We were in training camp, and this is like my last year of college football. And at that point in time, I was just like, yeah, I'm done. I can't do it anymore.
Do you still deal with pain or anything to this day, or?
Frankie, thankfully, I don't have. I think when I stopped when I did, um, I don't have head like CTE or anything like that because I had a number of concussions when I played. My knees, thankfully, are everything feels normal. So I'm very fortunate because a lot of the guys that I played with, some of these guys actually made it to the NFL, but you see them and they're paying for it, extensively. I mean, they're trying to do stem cell and just, cryotherapy, all these things to try to get back to living a normal life. So in a way, I feel like it was some good fortune that I got out early enough to where my body could be like, okay, now we can heal, you know?
Yeah, know when to sit down. You have to know when to
Yeah,
just stop. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Was that
yeah.
something at first that were you ever in a bit of denial? Like, no, I'll be fine. I'll be fine. I'll
Oh, dude,
play.
I was so hooked on the identity of being football Sean. Like, so that's a name that they gave me when I was a child. And I was so indebted to that identity. And it really caused a lot of, like, it made me make a lot of mistakes because I couldn't let go of it. I didn't know who I was without football. And that led to a really deep, deep depression once football was removed from the equation because I kind of had what do you call it, a quarter life, a 2 decade crisis at that time because I'm like, who the hell am I? Like, I don't know who I am without this because this has just been my whole life. So it led me down a dark path of depression and, you know, suicide and all kinds of things after that was taken away.
But was acting always kind of in the back of your head of maybe I could do this? It was almost like so from the get-go, was that always your plan B, or did it kind of just pop
You
up out of
know,
nowhere?
such a good question. Such a good question. You're just, yeah.
Firing
Uh,
all cylinders here. Going for
yeah,
the
no, no, I love
touchdown.
that because acting was running alongside of football the entire time. Like, so it's interesting when you look at your life in hindsight. So when I was in grammar school, we had this spring fair every year, and we would pick out a song, and the entire class would get together and create a dance routine and perform it for the entire school and all their families, like hundreds of people on stage. And I can remember the very first time I did that in kindergarten. We did heard it through the grapevine. We were dressed like California raisins with trash bags and like multicolored sunglasses. And we're just doing these little dance moves. And I just loved it. I loved it. I just, the whole performance idea of it and people cheering and all that. I love that so much. But I was still like, I still want to be a football player. Well, from kindergarten to eighth grade, I did a different dance routine every single year. In fifth grade, I did a play called the Earth Day Play. And it was just, it felt so good and so different and freeing. But because I was so tied to my football identity, I never really gave it a chance. And same, it just, the same pattern repeated itself in high school. You know, I had a teacher say, "Oh, you would be amazing if you would come into the drama society and like, you know, you could start small and then kind of work your way up." I'm like, yeah, but then it would take away from time with football. I don't know if I can do that. And so I brushed it to the side. And then so, yeah, it just, I kind of, it was running neck and neck with football, but I just kind of like, not now, not now. Okay, maybe down the road. Nah, I'm good. I never embraced it, you know?
You almost have to choose NFL or Broadway. What am I going to go
Yeah.
for?
If I could do it over again, oh God, I would have chose a whole lot earlier.
Your all of your L's, your ACL, your MC, all that stuff might still be intact.
Yeah, I know, right? Like it just walking around with screws in my knees, setting off airport security and stuff, you know.
Be a
It's
friggin' transformer or something.
yeah.
Oh, geez. But you have no regrets is the one
No,
thing that I'm thinking of. Like that's it. You have zero regrets for how things have transpired.
yeah, absolutely. You know, it didn't. I didn't get there overnight, but where I am now in life, I realize, you know, what's going to happen for you is going to happen, and that's what's amazing. And even with the challenging stuff, it made me a better actor. It made me a better person. It made me a better teacher and coach by going through all the adversity that I did, trying to accomplish this dream. So when you really take a chance and look back at it, you start to see, well, that really worked in my favor now that I can see it in hindsight. And so, yeah, I feel good about how it transpired and how it went because I knew that was what was best for me. So I'm at peace with it.
And then here you are now, and you got so much on the go. What upcoming projects are in the works right now for you that you're allowed to talk about? Because I mean, obviously, the industry is so like, yeah, I'm working on this project. I can't tell you about it though.
Yeah, yeah, no, no. So there's a couple of indie films, nothing contract signed yet, but those are kind of in the mix. I also have a script that I'm trying to figure out dates to where I want to shoot. It's called, I can actually give you a little bit of insight on it. It's
Oh,
called The Illusion of Fame, and it's about this guy who wants to be famous so badly his entire life, and then he finally gets it, but he realizes it's nothing what he had hoped for. What he was looking for was an opportunity to just love who he was without all of the stuff because you know, he reaches the fame and he starts to realize, oh my gosh, I'm feeling more and more unhappy than I was before I got to this point. And so it's kind of like, you know, a story of transformation, a story of what's important is you liking and loving yourself as you are now without the money, without the fame, without the accolades and all these things, but just honoring who you are at this point in time without really needing that. And so I've done 2 drafts on that script, and I'm figuring out a date to where I can get that together and shoot that. And so I'm excited about that.
Oh, that's fantastic. That plot right there, as you were describing it, I was like,
Yeah.
that's almost like you see a lot of those types of films like for the Oscars where they like the real artsy movies that have
Yeah.
like the real, I
Mhm.
was like, that's kind of what it feels like, but I love it. But it's
Thank
indie.
you. Thank you. Yeah, it's a personal story as well because I really thought for myself a lot of things outside of me would bring me peace, would bring me joy. And they give you a little hit of dopamine, but then it's like, yeah, that didn't really work. So, you kind of dive within and figure out what it is that truly makes you happy from the inside. And so that's been a lot of my journey as well.
You could do a biopic about your life,
Yes.
autobiography. Who would you, if you were to cast any actor, it could be any actor in the world, a
Okay.
biopic about Shaun Grant, from his football days up until his acting days, who would you pick to play you?
Well, the obvious choice is Michael B. Jordan. So,
Yay!
but no, I don't know if you've seen the Michael movie. Um,
No, I still have it because actually it's funny. I was ready to go see it. The movie theater in my town closed a month ago.
oh
So I have
no.
to travel an hour away to get to go see a movie now, and I haven't had time. But I have seen clips online of it at the time of this
Yeah.
recording.
Oh man, it's so inspiring. Like it really, if you have big dreams, like it's such a powerful story. And it's just so well acted. Everybody they casted in was just terrific. I bring that up because there's a kid that plays the younger Michael Jackson, and I mean he was just powerfully charismatic. And you think to yourself, that's a perfect casting. But it's also, I mean, this kid he was just on it. He was so like he had camera presence and he embodied that role so much. And you could see that it wasn't just younger Michael Jackson was playing; it was a lot of him, his essence put into it. So I would choose him to play the younger version of me. Then as we got a bit older, yeah, I'd have to, put some feelers out and probably get with a casting director to see, okay, who embodies, the essence of what I'm looking for.
Michael B. Jordan be so
Yeah,
good. Jafar Jackson,
yeah, yeah.
or no, who's good? I was so excited when I heard he was going to be playing Joe Jackson as Coleman Domingo.
Oh my
Such
God.
phenomenal
Yeah.
actor. I remember him from like the Fear of the Walking Dead days and everything. Hell, he could play you, Coleman
I don't
Domingo.
want to, yeah, I don't want to spoil it for you, but he's so good.
So
And
I've seen the clip. I did see the one clip
yeah,
of him giving him the whip or the belt. I was like, just brutal. I said, just absolutely brutal.
it's
And
powerful because they put him in that makeup and he looks so much like, Joseph did when he was alive. And but Joseph had like this scariness about him because there was always a threat that he would just lose it. And Coleman just embodies that so much. Like any portrayal of the Jacksons, Michael Jackson and the family, you always wanted to feel like, oh God, Joseph could snap at any time. And I think if you felt that while watching the person portraying Joseph, you're like, okay, they got it. And I mean, Coleman is just like on 1,000 the way he embodies that with Joe Jackson.
oh, so good. Oh, well, I remember him. I'm not sure if you've ever watched Fear the Walking Dead, the Walking Dead spinoff. He's one of the main characters from the first season to the end. And his character, it was one of those ones that you never knew which side he was on. It was like he
Yeah,
was on the hero side, but then he's also self-serving and he could stab you in the back at any time. And it was just one of those things of like he plays both sides so well to the point that you never know, is he gonna kill this person? Is he gonna
yeah,
betray them? Is he gonna and the same thing with Joe Jackson. Is he gonna
yeah.
flip the switch? Is he gonna kick the shit out of somebody? Like so the fact that, you have an actor who can embody that, that takes
Oh yeah,
talent.
absolutely. And when people are thinking, like when they're thinking before you even move, that just shows like how much presence, you have exuding outwardly because like you just even before the guy acted, his look, his the way he carried himself, his just embodiment of that character made your wheels start turning, right? And it was just like it was such a profound class in acting watching him do that, as well as the other stuff that he's done. I mean, just a phenomenal actor.
So good, and I'm predicting, this is my big prediction, and I'm probably gonna be right. Yeah, I'm not normally right about a lot of things, but I can almost guarantee he's gonna get an outstanding or a best supporting actor at the Oscars this
Yeah,
year.
I agree with you. I honestly, if he doesn't get supporting and Jafar doesn't get best actor, I and I heard this and I was like, I'll be honest with you. I was like, yeah, okay, that might be a push because so many people were saying I forgot that I was watching Jafar and I thought that I was watching Michael.
Yeah.
And so and not just even the performance, but the small nuances of who Michael Jackson was at that point in time in his life. I mean, family or not, this kid just I mean, and I got emotional. Like there were times where I was like tearing up because I'm like, wow, I'm actually watching Michael Jackson's life unfold, in real time, even though I was like 7 years old at the time when all this was happening. But he did such a terrific job with in just bringing in the spirit of Michael Jackson. It's profound his performance. Just uncanny at how eerily similar it felt like to the real person. Like I just wow.
And it is his nephew too. That's one thing
Yeah.
that's, they nailed that casting too. Maybe if you have a family member who's an actor, they can play you in the film too. If they if they can't get Jafar
I
Jackson,
didn't think about that. I think my nephew's more into Minecraft, but hey, things can change in a couple months with
bro,
7 years
get
old.
Jack Black in there and
Yeah,
say, "Hey, Steve is going to be in it too."
yeah,
And
yeah,
see, that's
yeah.
how
You
it all
never
works
know.
out.
You gotta stay open to it, right?
Yes, exactly. Just the possibilities are endless. Shaun, this has been such a blast, man. Thank you so much for taking the time to come on. As I said, big fan of what you're doing, and in of course the Last Ride and Thanksgiving again, and of course the film that you've wrote, which I'm very very excited to check that out as well too when it's made. And just yeah, thank you so much. Where can people find you on social media and all that?
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram at IAMSHAUNGRANT. I am Shaun Grant. Facebook is just Shaun Grant. And then TikTok is another one that I use. It's at THEUPLIFTER 504, the Uplifter 504 on TikTok. And
I just had a brain fart. I said, "What does that spell?" I was like, "It's like, what does that spell?" I said, "That's not how you spell Shaun Grant."
yeah, the Uplifter. Yes, yes.
The hell is that?
So great.
Oh, and the Uplifter. Shaun, thank you so much, man. Guys, thank you guys for listening to the Corcoran Entertainment Show today. We'll see you guys in the next episode. But until then, this is Frankie and Shaun Grant signing off. Cheers, man.
Thank you.